The Tim and Jenn Show.
Hello, welcome to the Tim and Jenn Show. My name is Tim Ryan, sitting here with my badass co-host, business partner, best friend, wife.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jimenez Ryan.
Hi, honey.
Hi. I've been laughing so hard. We've been sitting here before we started taping and just like, Jay, you're off your rocket. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so thankful you're here.
Yeah, we are.
My cheeks hurt. I kind of froze like, when we started the show.
Before I probably started 3 arguments with you on the way here, but we were talking and I said, you got to understand something after I just got done with this argument. I said, we're going to laugh through this whole damn show. We have Jay Mohr here today on the Tim and Jenn Show. And if you don't know who Jay Mohr is, I promise you will recognize him. He's an actor. He's a comedian. He's run podcasts. He's run radio shows. But let's talk a little bit about him. Has been seen in things like Ghost Whisperer. Gary, Unmarried, was on a wonderful show called Saturday Night Live. Has appeared in movies like Jerry Maguire, Suicide Kings, Picture Perfect, Adventures of Pluto Nash. Are we here yet? Street Kings, blah, blah, blah. Just got back from being in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, doing some shows up there. We'll talk about your new comedy show. Jay Mohr, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tim. Hi, Jen. Hello. Really know how to butter up a gal.
What's going down?
I'm not sure how I feel about Ghost Whisperer being my first credit.
Hey, I think I forgot to ask you for a bio, so I went to our old Wikipedia, which is worthless.
Because I'm 5'5" and 300 pounds.
I think it's at 322.
Yeah. My nickname is Way More.
Way more with the dicky do.
Yeah. That's exactly.
That's where your belly sticks out farther than your damn dicky do.
That's what it says.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we're kidding.
No.
I like how Jen keeps looking around at the audience that can hear. What? I mean, is it me, guys? Back me up, table with a bag on it.
Table with a bag
I'm
on it.
confused because
how do you like our setup here?
It's pretty
I'm
nice.
confused because there's new cameras here, so I don't know which one to look
anytime we
at.
walk into our podcast studio, Chris, our engineer, is always messing with something else. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 cameras, lights. But anyhow, Chris, shout out.
I like
to
that
you.
you looked at the air conditioner when you said camera.
You got me. I'm looking around.
For the viewers.
I think those are the cameras that the feds are always listening.
Well, you definitely did some speed in your day.
Yeah, no.
For the listener and for the viewer, all 3 cameras are like 8 inches from each other in one unit plate. Like they're all right there, and you guys are like, where do I look? Come on, ¿dónde?
It's like getting the call. It's like getting the call on the intervention. Yeah, my kid, he's been up for 14 days and he likes to take apart the lawnmowers, but he doesn't know how to put them back together. Can you come help us? Yeah. Not happening.
I was big on putting my money in sequential order and facing the right way, but only like right when it was time to leave the house to go to the airport. I'd be like, wait a minute. I wasn't as mechanically inclined for like air conditioning units and lawnmowers. Just pretty much just masturbation constantly.
A lot of it.
Crazy.
What age did you start?
1.
Box.
Oh, God.
Okay, I normally don't get thrown off my square. I'm thinking he's going to say 8, 9, 10, 12. You know, me and Bobby used to rub swords together.
Eddie Collins. When we were 10. He's the chief of police in New Jersey now.
No.
I drive as fast as I want through New Jersey. What are they going to pull me over? Like I care. I'll be like, when you get the chief of police on the radio.
Let's tell this story, Eddie.
He'll be like, well, let him go. Don't ask him any questions. Let him go, Norton. Give him your gun and your badge. Drop him off in Manhattan. Tell him the password is still snow leopard. It's not who you know. It's who you blow after. I rent a car with 3 wheels. I don't put my headlights on at night. I got a family of Haitians zip tied in my trunk. I'm throwing Molotov cocktails at other cars like I'm playing Mario Kart. I got a minor next to me drinking. These guys got to get to school.
I'm having a hard time here.
You know what I took
Let's
from
talk about the minor next to you while you're drinking and driving.
I wish. Let me tell you about what I learned from your intro, that you started arguments.
Occasionally, yeah. And I sometimes have them with my wife. Sometimes I have them with myself.
On the way here, you said you started a few different arguments.
You said.
Like,
I don't know if I started them.
He started them, I promise.
No, you said you started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm trying to just do whatever I can to keep Mama Shark calm down because it's
By
it
arguing,
can be really good or it could be
by
really
like
bad.
poking, like
Yeah.
just a poke, you know.
I know it'll get her serene. I'll bother her.
Mhm.
Maybe you
matter with
guys should spend a few days together and go for a walk on the beach and sing Kumbaya.
Can we curse on this podcast?
You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Don't fuck with me.
Absolutely. Where'd you start out, man? Did you grow up and say I want to be a comedian, actor? How did you stumble into this, or was it something you wanted to do?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor, and I remember like I put on like, it's pretty embarrassing. I'd put on like hats. I'd find like an old like newsy hat someplace in my dad's drawers or closet, and I'd put it on. I'd make myself cry for real. And then I always loved stand-up comedy. Like I was nuts, insatiable.
Who did you like to watch growing up?
It didn't matter. I can get to that, but it comes much later. It was more like an out of focus, giant sort of Ansel Adams landscape-y type vision
Right.
of just, I love all of it. And it's like, I would get VHS tapes and tape The Tonight Show and David Letterman just for like the 4 minutes of the comedian at the end. And I was always watching comedy like Star Search. This is like 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. I would watch like Star Search, Evening at the Improv, and I just devoured it. And then I would sort of like act it out to my friends, like what I saw, because nobody even knew what stand-up comedy was.
Sure.
We're in the suburbs of New Jersey. And then I was watching, there was a public access channel in New Jersey, and they showed comedy from a comedy club in West Orange, Rascals, in the next town over.
Right.
And then once I was just watching that, and there was a commercial like, if you're a teenager and you think you can try comedy, come on down to Rascals. We're going to have a teen comedy audition.
Cool.
And it was at noon on a Sunday. My buddy James Barone drove me because he had a driver's license. I was 16. I didn't have one yet. And it was a mess. It was like all other like teenagers and their parents in a basement that holds 500 people. But, when I was there, somebody said, what are you doing? That was a Sunday. They said, what are you doing Wednesday? We're all going to Hackensack. There's an open mic there. And then I did that. And then they said, what are you doing Saturday? We go to Montclair. There's an open mic there. And then we're going to the city. And then I just kept doing that stuff.
Awesome.
And that was the first time I found my tribe, because I was a wrestler. So that's like a monastic life. You're never really a part of anything other than your
How
own.
did you do book-wise in school? Were you into...
No, I was bad. Yeah. I got I still speak French because I loved French for whatever reason. My sister spoke French. She took French. You speak French?
A little bit.
Un petit peu, mon petit peu. And you can take a break here.
I have no idea what was said.
I called your wife my baby bunny.
Okay. Mike, can you take care of that for me, please?
Shit, I got something for everybody. I just liked what I liked.
So you're 16, how, 18?
I was 16 when I started.
16 when you started.
Yeah.
Sophomore, junior in high school.
Yeah.
87, 88.
86.
Are you class 80?
88.
Oh, okay. Kids.
And then I went to Rutgers to wrestle, and I was bad. I went from phenom to fish real quick. And I remember I was cutting weight. I was running along the Raritan River. I was on MTV Half Hour Comedy Hour at 18.
Wow.
And I was going to cut from 140 to 129. There was no way I was going to make 129, but I was going to give it a shot because I was just getting ragdolled. And I remember these two girls were jogging. It's freezing out. There's snow on the ground, and they're wearing volleyball shorts. In the front, it looks like a bike rack. It's like,
right.
Oh my God. And I was like, whoa. And I had the old headphones on, the Walkman, listening to Van Halen 1.
Just there you go, on the Sony Walkman.
And they're they were making motions take it off. I'm like, what's up? And they were like, you're Jay Mohr. But I'm I'm running.
Right.
And they're coming this way. I was like, yeah. And they go, you were on MTV last night. I go, yeah. They're like, we've been up all night partying. We're going to go get pancakes and beer. You want to come with us? I was like, yeah. No more wrestling. And that started my sex addiction.
Really?
No.
I was
really.
like, oh, here we go. We're going to get it.
No, it was, my sex addiction wasn't really a sex addiction. It was just a compulsion to it was married to Adderall use.
Oh,
It's just
Adderall.
porn. Escorts. It's a funny word for hooker, but and
Constantly searching and seeking.
Adderall is a drug that makes your dick soft and makes you a pussy addict at the same time. It's you want to talk about insanity.
That's an interesting one.
And you just keep going. Like, maybe it'll work this time. Maybe it'll work this time. Then you get sober, and then your parts work again. And my sick brain's like, well, now I got to go back and show them that it works. I'm Johnny Horsecock. I got to let them know what's up. I got to let them know what's up. So that was actually more of a pull than drugs were. Because like when I was done with drugs, I was just done with drugs because I knew that the allergy, the mental obsession, and the allergy combined. Like I found 2 Adderall in my closet about a month ago, and they were just like comically insufficient.
Did you sell them to the neighbor kid?
Yeah. It's like these 2, like I need a suitcase filled with Adderall if I take these 2. Like these 2 do nothing for me.
Not a thing.
Did you actually dump them down the crap?
Called my sponsor as I flushed them. Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm doing this by the book. Man.
Well, those are the things too. You know, Jen, you probably had it happen in early recovery and
leave her alone. Whatever. Jesus,
you found
break them up.
A foil. You found an empty bag of Coke.
I did, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I found an 8-ball, and I was like holding it, and I had another person that I knew that loved me very much and was in recovery, and I was like, I have this, and they're like, what do you want to do with it? It's up to you. Do you want to take it? Do you want me to take it? Do you want to keep it? What? And I said, I want to flush it, and I went. They came with me, and it was so relieving. I felt so much power. There's so much power to what you just said right now.
Yeah, it's
being so honest about this.
Look, I'm so exhausted. Like it just consumed me. Like the last 4 years of my Adderall use, I could have had like a BA in pill math.
Yeah.
When did things get to a point to where the addiction really kicked in?
I would say 4 years ago, but my idea of reality turns out isn't reliable.
Right.
You know, like at my intervention, I was really surprised because I thought things were cooking along, going well, and I thought the world owed me, and I was just self-pity. I was fluent in self-pity. I thought my agents were jerks. I thought stand-up comedy was weird because of COVID, and it turns out I was like I was unhireable. People were uncomfortable around me because like the more I used drugs, the more you never knew which JJ you were going to get. And then people wouldn't come see me. And then I was alone and isolated. But when you're using, I think, you know, I don't know if it's specific to speed, but it's not like a joint you pass around. It's like mine. So I was like really alone.
Yeah. I
spent a lot of time in bathrooms. And it turns out peeing takes like 40 seconds. I'm like always around. My son's like, you again. Jesus. This guy's always here.
Yeah, you became a damn liability.
Yeah. So about 3 years. But again, I'm open to other people's perception of events as being a lot more reliable than mine.
Were you a big drinker?
I was. I quit drinking May 5th, 1998. I got sober March 12th of this year.
Congratulations.
Sure.
Why'd you quit drinking?
Couldn't stop drinking. And I was driving with a buddy of mine. I was on Lankershim and Riverside. We were going to the beach, and I went to fart, and I shit my pants. So I had to turn around. I'm like, it was after the Suicide Kings rap party. I was so drunk that the next day I was so cripplingly hungover. I was just putting bacon in my underwear and just had a whole bunch of new freckles on my nuts. And I was just like, oh boy. And he goes, well, why don't you do what I do? Have like 1 or 2 and stop. And I said, because once I have 1 or 2, I'm powerless. Oh, and I just stopped talking.
Yeah.
Because I knew what it meant. Because when I was a kid, my mom got sober when I was 10. So I'd always go to meetings with my mom. So I knew the steps, not by heart, but I knew them.
Right.
So once I said I was powerless, I knew that word was the big one. So then I went to AA on Moore Park, first meeting. And then
in 98?
Yeah. And my stories immediately after I showered, after I wiped my legs and bathed.
Get rid of the crapper.
Wash and sent to my tent.
Clean the crapper first.
So, yeah, my story's pretty much doing it my way over and over and over and over and over and expecting a different result. Like, after I quit drinking, about a year went by, I got addicted to NyQuil. And I was drinking 2 bottles of NyQuil a day. And then I went back to AA to get off of NyQuil, and then it was like, all right, I washed and sent to my tent.
Clean the crapper first.
So yeah, my story's pretty much doing it my way over and over and over and over and over and expecting a different result. Like after I quit drinking, about a year went by, I got addicted to NyQuil. And I was drinking 2 bottles of NyQuil a day. And then I went back to AA to get off of NyQuil. And then it was like, all right, I couldn't even get a thought together of, I need this to be done. It was just, I was OCD. I was just masturbating constantly, just punching my clown.
Boxing the clown, flogging the dolphin, twirling that
Flipper
squirrel.
had a backache.
Wow.
Flipper had a backache.
Beating it till it's just...
Interrogate the political prisoner. Open the pod bay door, Hal. All Dennis Miller references. So then my intervention was March 11th. I was going to interview, I thought I was interviewing for my podcast, RZA from Wu-Tang Clan at my house at 10 in the morning. Now, the first red flag
Oh no.
that I should have seen was that a member of Wu-Tang Clan would be at my house at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So my producer's there, and we're waiting for RZA. I don't know where he is. I don't know. And she's wearing perfume, which was very out of character for her. I'm like, what's going on? She really loves RZA. One of my buddies, a sober guy, Skyler, comes down my stairs. I'm like, oh, because he helped me get RZA for the podcast. And then another buddy, my opening act, Billy, came downstairs. I'm like, oh, hey. And then my girlfriend came downstairs. I'm like, these people really love RZA. Wow, what a get.
Awesome.
And they're all up and ready to go. And like, she's not going to work. He's supposed to be on the road.
My friends are awesome.
Then I see the Zoom screen with my business manager and my stand-up agent, who's my best friend, who became my agent. And I'm like, this is, it's working. Everything's working. Then I saw the interventionist, Jimmy Weiss. I don't know if you know Jimmy.
No.
And as soon as I saw him, it was like full stop, because he's just a grimy Baltimore white guy that was a meth guy, and he's got like tattoos of pit bulls on his neck. He's just like, his hands look like he's like an old sea captain, like mangy hands, bald. He has no teeth, and he's like 30. He has sunglasses on in my house, and his hoodie's all the way up, and it's kind of pulled tight like the Unabomber. And I'm like, this guy's a freaking drug addict. Jesus, he's got to be the interventionist. And then as soon as I looked at him at the top of the stairs, the energy changed.
Yep.
When we went to detox, after
Hold on. How long did the intervention actually take before you said, all right?
I was hot. Who knows? Who knows?
Hour, half hour, 20 minutes?
I would say probably an hour.
Okay.
But I'm going to circle back to it. Don't worry. I won't leave you hanging on that. So
we would have got him in 20 minutes.
Oh, no. I said 8 minutes in. I said, just so you guys know, I'm going.
Okay.
I was going to circle back to this, but maybe it's better in this order. Because I knew this is the first miracle that other than, I didn't know people loved me enough that I could actually have enough people in a room to have an intervention for me.
Wow. That's powerful.
I used to want one because I could not fucking stop. And it's not like, well, I won't drink tomorrow. There was no thought of stopping. It was just a constant hamster wheel of just go, get more. Where do I get it? How many do I have left? How much money do I have? Where am I going to get the money? How am I getting that prescription? How do I get the other prescription? How do I do this? I can't do that prescription. I'll go to jail. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll suck your dick, man. No, thankfully that never happened. I would tell you.
Yeah, those are the yets.
Hey, fingers crossed, buddy. And so then, what was I just saying? I got so distracted by dick.
You're talking about the
group of people.
The man.
Right. So I was so secretive. I even kept my desire to get well.
Like secret. You wanted someone to come help.
I prayed for an intervention. I was so secretive with my drug use and my life that my wishes to even get well, I kept a secret from everybody.
Yeah.
And I used to pray for an intervention because I couldn't stop. And if I ran out of pills, I just slept for 2 days until I got that magical text like, hey, I'm holding. And then I would drive to like fucking Diamond Bar with every penny I had.
Yep.
So when I was sitting there, the first miracle that truly was, well, I said, just so you guys know, I'm going. Because in that, faster than that snap of my fingers, I realized if they start reading their bottom line letters, I'm going to die a junkie. because I'm so fucked up and my ego is such that I will, because I used at everybody and everything. Like, she did what? Oh, I'm going to use it her and him and that, and I did whatever. So I knew, like, oh, you're not going to date me anymore? Snort. Oh, you're not going to book me anymore? Snort. Right. And in that, like, in a synapse, like when a fight breaks out, you just know what to do and where to go or whatever. And that weird sixth sense or whatever, I just went, just so you guys know I'm going, because I got suddenly like, oh my God, I'll die. Like, I will die and I don't want to die if they start saying, if you don't get help, this is what will happen with me in regards to you. And I said that, and then they were all like, okay, good. And then, but they all still finished their letters. And there was a couple letters that you do interventions. You guys know, like, I guess your job, I would, correct me if I'm wrong, your job as an interventionist is to vibe out who the first domino is that's going to knock over your dominoes.
You
like,
know,
who's the backbone here? Like,
well, it's usually have an enabler. Well, if it's a mom and dad or whatever, one of them. I mean, I could get anything out of my mom, my dad.
Who's the person? If I can get this person,
who's the one that, like, we're gonna have a really hard time with because they're gonna, like.
Oh, I mean the opposite. Who's the person, like, if their letter is gonna be the one to get them? Like, when you watch the show, you're like, I bet when she reads, he's
not always do we have them write letters.
But yeah, a lot of times that's not the way ever.
I had them have long scrolls. Here you go.
I'm not a. I'll have the families talk more versus reading letters, but
there's been letters.
There's many different forms of interventions, but the bottom line is you had a good team and you got a lot of fucking people that did love you and do love you.
I get choked up just
and,
even
and I'm going to tell you, we love you, and I'm so blessed that God and Jimmy Shin and Greg Baldwin and our friends had us coming to these events, and we met you, and blessed that you're in our life.
It's weird because when you meet people like you guys in your journey in sobriety, there's no banality. There's no like, so it's just you meet them and it's like immediate.
Right to it. I mean, we talked for 4 or 5 minutes and give me your number. Here's Jen's cell. Here's my cell. It's like,
I wouldn't take Jen's number. Do you remember?
Then I gave it to you. But now Jen goes and hides in the closet a lot.
Oh God!
But then I'll text you, and then you'll text me as soon as she walks out of the closet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting a call. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, okay.
No, because I was like, it was always in my head. Like, girls. This is your wife.
Yep.
Like, but nobody was safe.
Nobody was safe.
I mean, I wasn't safe.
But the cool thing is too, we talk almost every day.
And
check
you're
in
on my list.
And that's
I got my batting order.
I mean, you're doing the work.
You are doing
the work,
man.
I say that to Tim all the time.
Look, I can't live the way
in the middle.
Yeah, my sponsor says I'm above the middle, which I'm always happy about. I'm like, all right, let me know when I get to just like the regular old middle. So I go to detox, and they took Jimmy in instead of me.
What?
I told her, Pitbull's on his neck.
Oh yeah.
And the hoodie and the sunglasses. He's got no teeth and he's all grimed. He's a Baltimore like street guy. And when they get to detox, they're like, all right, thanks a lot. And keep in mind, I'm like coaching high school wrestling at the time. I'm like 30 pounds lighter. I'm in like a United States wrestling sweatsuit. I look like a DuPont.
Right.
That made me laugh. And they're like, all right, thanks a lot. And Jimmy like goes, whoa, no, it's him. And they're like, all right, knock it off. And I'm like, God bless him. I hope it works out for him. I'm in the driveway in San Clemente, like, bye. So I actually just stood there after they went in. And I just stood in like the front porch of this house until they came back out to get me. Because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's always like in horse country.
Well, that's called an AMA risk. You're not gonna, if you walk off, where are you gonna go?
Amazing.
You're not.
It was just rural somewhere, California.
Did they die laughing?
No. It was very detox. I miss it.
I miss it.
Whenever I can't sleep, I think about detox. And
they had you so jacked up.
No, it was just the most quiet house. And all I had was like a bathtub and like a twin bed, and it was Adderall. So you can't keep your eyes open for 5 days. And I stayed an extra day because I didn't want to go to rehab, nodding off. I kind of approached it like jail. I really did. Because when I went there, and it was an all men's Christian rehab, and it was a lot of vatos, bro. Like, hey, what you can tell like what Mexican guys.
Have you done time in jail at all?
No.
Never.
Fingers crossed.
Come on. You've never been to jail?
I was at Rikers Island for 3 nights because it was on a Labor Day weekend, a big fight in a club, but we just all got rounded up.
That's it.
And nobody really wants trouble at Rikers. They're coming or going.
No.
They're just coming or going.
That's still an interesting experience. But.
And I remember just sitting there like, wow, this is amazing.
So you missed detox from the serenity of sleeping and resting.
Well, I sleep well. I was sleeping right before I came here. So my roommate in rehab, Armando, did 17 years in jail for murder.
Wow.
And he had like a face tattoo. He had like my name on his knuckles. I don't know how he pulled that off. He had loyalty across his stomach. But, you know, you eat a lot in rehab, you gain weight. I think now it says Loyola Marymount. Ladies and gentlemen, these are all on the show.
Mic drop.
These are all on the show. But this is all true. And so he did 17 years in jail for murder. And they're like, all right, so it lights out. I'm like, yeah, maybe we don't turn the lights out tonight. Maybe we just keep the lights on, you know?
Just leave on.
I'm laying there in the dark, my first night in rehab after intervention and detox, and I'm like a coyote. I'm all like ribs. I'm all shaky. I'm like, they took my strings out of my sweatpants. They took the laces out of my shoes. I'm like, I got like $18. I got that big stupid sippy bottle for water that I can refill at a sink. That says the name of the rehab on it. I'm like, so they can see you in a group.
Sure.
And I'm like, what the I see myself I thought I was a high bottom addict, and I'm just laying there like, oh, I'm my meds. And I see my reflection in the mirror. I look like a big fat baby. I'm like, this is a low bottom. And then in the dark, I hear, hey, bro. I go, yeah. He goes, it's Armando. I'm like, yeah. Like, what does he think? They switch out the addicts at 11:02? Like, he's right next to me. It's Armando. I go, what's up? And he goes, hey, just so you know, it's my first night. He goes, when you hear this rubbing noise coming from over here in the dark, I'm not jerking off, bro. I'm rubbing my feet together. That's self-care. He's like, wow. Phew. P-H-E-W, exclamation point. Phew. And then I was like, just so you know, Armando, it's Jay. Yeah? Just so you know, when you hear that rubbing noise coming from over here in the dark, I'm jerking off. That's also self-care. So yeah, you have a question or something? I had to get all those bits out.
How did that go with Armando?
Well, that I might have made up the last line.
That's okay. I like that one.
I'm jerking off.
That's a
Armando. ¿Qué pasó? You can tell like which Mexican guys did jail time because they only walk with their bodies against the wall. So
you can pick them out.
So you can only jump them from one side. They don't swing their arms when they walk, and the knuckles are facing out. And if you call them, they don't turn their head. They turn their whole body like, hey, ¿qué pasó, vato? Hey, órale. I remember he woke me up. He's like, hey, wake up, bro. We're going to cornhole. No, we're not.
What?
I didn't know it was a game. It's like the Autistic Olympics in rehab. It's like cornhole, ping pong, tag until someone cries.
It's a, you know, I've been to prison twice. And people would always ask, you know, do people really get raped and all this? And there was one time that happened. A couple, not with me.
Only a comedian would burst out laughing.
That Big Perk bent me over the toilet. And no,
Big Perk, no way.
No,
How dare you?
I love Big Perk.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. No, it was
you
this.
love him.
Now you got to realize, in the last prison I was in, I'm the minority. There was 10% white, 80% African American, 10% Hispanic, and a few Asians and a couple Native Americans. In this little white kid.
Asians,
yeah.
What? I never thought Asian guys would be in jail.
Oh yeah, there's a good crew of
Their parents turn them in for blowing their math homework.
all math.
Well, I'm not worried about Me Too.
Math. No, they didn't.
Math.
They sold math.
No. Oh, okay.
But anyhow, Wayland
I'm trying to get Me Too'd.
caused a bunch of racial stuff in prison.
Who did?
This little white kid, Wayland was his name, and
He was a real peckerwood.
said some words that you don't say to people of ethnicity, and
Niacin?
it caused chaos. Well, his cellie, who happened to be African American, hardcore gang guy, taught that boy a lesson for what he did, and the whole deck could hear it. And I'll never forget that. There's some sounds from being in prison or detox that you'll never forget. But the crazy thing is the next morning when the cell doors pop, you just walk out and you just see that kid standing there, and everybody knew, but nobody said anything. And it's like, fuck, that shit's real,
And is there harmony after that? Like nature has run its course?
They ran his course. I don't know, man. It's he kept the peace. Yeah, people would have killed him if that didn't happen. He would have got killed.
Or he would have gotten killed if he didn't stop.
Yeah. I mean, you don't.
Well, he's not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree. If he's saying it, and he has a black
He had
cellmate.
the Wall Street Journal shipped in every day.
It's
a handlebar mustache. It was the biggest. He's in there for like his second DUI, where poor lady's a quadriplegic now, and all he talked about was wanting to get out and drink again. And these guys were calling him out on his bullshit. And he said, "F you, blankety blanks," and it was like, "Whoa, game on, game on." But so detox. You go from there. You go into treatment. You and Armando, you guys built a good relationship there, huh?
You know, it's funny because when you're in rehab and they have like guest speakers at the meetings, they're like, only 2 of you are going to make it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck you. Guess what?
I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be one.
Well, I knew I was going to be I don't know how to tell you other than I love you and I love you and you guys love me and we know each other. We would know if there's a facade. I knew I was going to be.
I said the same thing in 1990.
I'm done. I don't know what to tell you. I'm fucking done.
Was that this year?
Yeah. 6 months and a week ago.
Amen.
And I was like, but everybody else says, oh, I'm done too. And it just, as time goes by, another one bites the dust.
They fall off.
So I realize now the absurdity of guys in rehab saying like, not me. Because I knew, maybe they knew in their bones too, that they weren't going to slip, and they slipped. And that's what scares the shit out of me, because I have another slip in me, but I don't think I have another recovery in me. Because my ego is big enough where I can't see myself taking a welcome chip and saying 6 days.
Yeah. What do you say on that, Jen?
What do you mean?
I don't have another relapse in you?
I have another relapse in me.
Oh, of course.
I have it for sure. I don't even know if my ego would even allow me to come back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
that's where I was going. I'll die a junkie. I'll be like Chet Baker. I'll just do shows in Amsterdam or something.
Did you just mention Chet Baker?
Yeah.
Talk.
Wait, so Tom Sizemore last week mentioned Chet Baker. My first movie I ever did was the documentary on
Let's Get Lost.
Let's Get Lost, which was nominated for
Lost in each other.
So crazy.
I love Chet. I wanted to play him so bad. Ethan Hawke did a great job.
I
knew Chet?
I was in his documentary. Yeah,
she was in his documentary.
I'm shooting. I got discovered by Bruce Weber. My fourth job was shooting Let's Get Lost, which later I found out.
I have a giant Let's Get Lost movie poster on my wall in my house.
So was nominated for Best Documentary. I had no idea. It won Cannes.
He's beautiful too.
Yeah. So I'm in the elevator. We had done all the San Monica Pier bumper scenes and stuff, and we were coming home. It was like 3-4 in the morning. Where my mom and I are together, and Chet and his girlfriend were there, and they got into the elevator and they waited for us to come in. And I remember him and I looked at each other, and we were like this close, and his eyes were so blue, and I like literally went into his eyes, inside his soul. And I got him. I didn't know what I understood, but and he looked at me and we just kind of smiled, and then they got off and they said goodnight. But I remember that moment of connection into something that I understood him. Later, I find out he was an addict. I was an addict. I'm an addict. And I connected soulfully on that.
Two wounded birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
how you were 13, 14?
I was 13 years old.
13 when she was in
13 years old. Yeah. In that Shangri-La Hotel elevator with
That's where
Chet
William
Baker.
Holden died.
Really?
He fell down, hit his head on a table.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe you mentioned Chet Baker.
I'm a different breed of cat, honey.
Wow.
I also mentioned Yves Klein Blue, but nobody bid on that.
Oh, you're right.
I will play dumb. I have no idea.
He's an artist, and he came up with a new color, blue. It looks like blue, but if you go to the MoMA, it's just framed blue, but it looks like you can kind of dive into it, into another dimension.
I went to the MoMA the other day.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah. I think they should play Raging Bull at the MoMA.
Ooh.
On a loop. It's just
we could do that.
Really cool.
I have
we
no
could?
pull. I have no pull. I tried. I have no pull.
We're all the Cy Twomleys while we're talking.
I think we should just come up with good ideas and just implement them.
Yeah, it's what I did for my entire speed career.
How'd that work for you?
Not great.
Now, how was rehab then? You kind of did your rehab
Can
journey?
I say something? That whole thing about like who else? The two people.
Yeah.
I am close to. I'm nigh 15 years and 9 months sober, and I still hold on to that. I wonder who the other person, because that last time in treatment, it was so hard. And they would tell us, Bob Forrest would say, like,
Love
you know, 10% will make it. Which one? And I'm always like, it's me. And when you were talking, I remember that visual of like, it's me. I'm one of them. Like, and looking back, and I still hold on to that.
Wow.
That
But,
feeling.
You know what I mean, though? But everybody else was like, yeah, I'm totally making it. And they just go out and they snort fentanyl and have heart attacks and die.
But who else? Like, I'm so desperate still. Like, I don't want to go back to that.
Look, I'm at O'Hare Airport this morning. It's 6 a.m. and I'm sitting there. They don't board till 7. I got my big book, a highlighter. I'm taking notes. Like that's what I got to do every day. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it's not. I can't even say like thanks, because it's just what. If you're on the dream team, go to fucking practice, or you're gonna get dunked on.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I didn't get sober until I went to prison at 44 years old.
By the way, at 15 years, I'll be 66.
Wow.
Yikes! I waited a long time.
I'm gonna be.
I was born
68
ass first and 2 months early, so I've been doing it my way a long time.
Ass first, and were you really 2 months early?
Yeah, I actually have to write that down.
So that's how it works. You
I'm
just
afraid
write,
to move the mics.
Yeah,
I don't want Chris. I don't want Chris to come out
Chris
again.
is gonna
It's like a
come
game
out
of mousetrap.
screaming, and you guys, I spent 18 hours setting this up. And,
Should have spent 18 and a half.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm listening to you. I'm deceptively
No,
attentive.
you're really writing this down.
Yeah, I'll just write ass first.
I was in rehab in 1990, and that guy came in, and I was the last one to stay sober. Made it about a year, but then I was 21 years old, and I think from 21 to 44, I strung one more year sober, and that was it.
From 20, you were sober 1 year combined from 21.
And then I was in and out until I went to prison.
I always had something in my back pocket. Like when I quit NyQuil, I still had weed, and I had some Adderall. When I quit Adderall, I still had weed, and I'd say like I wasn't going to drink. It just was at it. Like the obsession had been lifted, but not really, because I was just acting out. Like seeing hookers was just like it was. I never blacked out on drugs. I blacked out looking for hookers. Like I remember being like my third escort of the night and having no idea how I actually. When you're so stoned.
Third escort of the night.
Yeah.
A night's 12 hours if you want to do a full
I would
night.
get home like crack of dawn. I would go to
Hell
rest.
yeah,
That's addiction,
absolutely.
doesn't
I go to
matter. You could be
but
like,
I was
"Are you
also
kidding
taking
me?"
speed,
Yeah.
so I would snort a ton of Adderall and go to wrestling practice. Good for your heart.
Damn. What people listening don't understand or that are watching this right now is we functioned. Jen at the peak of her game, alcohol, cocaine, functioning. Me, peak of my game, mass amounts of heroin, alcohol, functioning. You, peak, valleys, not peak, but functioning and thinking everything's well.
But functioning on a really narrow runway.
Yeah. But knowing
like nothing else is allowed in.
But then you're praying in this one part of your mind or soul. God, I hope somebody comes in
But
to
you
help
were
me.
high functioning. Like that's the thing.
I
It's like
thought
you
I
were,
was.
No, but you were for a while. I mean, like you were living your life like this, and you were at the top of your game. I mean, like you've been super successful.
Well, that's
You're very
before
talented.
I was really going down the rabbit hole of like the Adderall's what really accelerated coming Unraveled.
So how did that really affect? I mean, were you still doing any TV shows or movies?
Here and
or
there,
big
but if you look at my
comedy things?
IMDb page,
Yeah.
it goes from like Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino to like Talking Dog movies. Direct to DVD, like Chewy Baton's going to Bloomingdale's. But first he's going to stop at Bark Williams for a massage. And I was like the voice of the like massage attendant. I wasn't even the voice of Chewy Baton.
Did you ever work with someone like Christopher Watkins?
Oh, that was such a sweaty fucking...
You please tell us that story.
I will. But there's like 3 questions on the table. So I'm trying to sort. It's like my act. I do this.
Figure the ADHD out.
I do this to myself on stage. My friend said once, your act, it's like a magic show because you come out on stage and you throw like 10 lightning bolts into the sky, and then an hour later you catch 12.
Loop them all back in.
Yeah,
catch
you do.
12.
I said that.
And it's like, wait, where did the other two come from?
Exactly.
But it's just me, like, just and just spinning plates like a dog. Like the guy walking up a building in a cartoon, and the beam comes up, like, oh, there's a callback. Oh, right there, I got saved. So here's where I was not high functioning. Is towards the end, like, I just gotten back into stand up. In February, I booked the Tempe Improv, which is a huge room. It's great, and it's one of my favorite places to play. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Finally, I'm back. So my best friend, who's also my stand-up agent, he's not my agent who became my friend. He's my best friend who became my agent. I groomed him to be my agent because he's always going to look out for me.
Yep.
At my intervention, he said, West Palm Beach Improv, it wasn't plumbing. They didn't want you. And this theater and that theater and that theater and that Hard Rock and that like Seminole something or other, they didn't want you. Because it's really like, in show business, like 6 people own every venue. Really.
Right.
Unless you're playing like Staples Center or whatever, then you get into the corporate. But he said at the Tempe Improv, they said you were a mess, you were late, they couldn't get you to shows, you were a jerk. On stage, you were forgetting your joke, shuffling around. I was missing teeth. They're like, you were missing teeth.
Damn.
The audience filled out those comment cards and said you were a bum, and they were uncomfortable because the word he used was you were a fallen star. Not falling.
Fall in.
Fall in. And in that moment, I was like, I'll go right now because that can't happen. Like, what am I going to get a job?
Right.
I'm going to get a Class C license and drive a rig? What the fuck do I can't even pay my own bills. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I thought the weekend went great. I made $14,000 and I spent 2 nights barebacking an escort named Meow Meow.
Meow meow.
I don't think that's her Christian name. I looked at her driver's license and said Meow Smith. But I thought everyone else was nuts. And like, Jesus, must be new managers or something because they don't know what the hell they're doing. No. But then at the intervention, he told me all this and he started crying.
Wow.
And he's like, do you remember we made that promise to each other? You were 22, I was 20. I've known this guy. We played traveling baseball in high school. Like, he's from Florida, from New Jersey. We meet in, like, North Carolina, like a traveling, like, barnstorming team. And he's like, we promised we'd always look out for each other. He's sobbing. And I'm like, look, RZA will be here at any minute. See, that's the 11th lightning bolt to fire, whatever. So that really effed me up. Like, so I wasn't high functioning. I thought I was, but I was always irritable and discontent. I was always like, what the fuck? So that really scared me. That terrified me, that my perception of what reality was not reality. I ran out of gas on the way there, and my skateboard was in the car. I'm skateboarding on the 10. It's still up. I'm skateboarding on the 10 freeway to get gas, and I'm holding a fucking cell phone.
You have that video.
Yes.
Yes, on your Instagram.
Normal people don't skateboard on the 10 freeway. I ran out of gas 3 times in February. I got the car in February.
Oh my God.
I wasn't well, Timmy.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But Jen's proposition that I was high functioning, I beg to differ.
Wow. I appreciate the honesty.
Well, it says in that big book, Moby Dick, that... All right, so Christopher Walken, we did a movie, Suicide Kings. And this is a true story. The first day of the movie, I had a Rottweiler at the time, and I brought her everywhere I went. Because when you do a movie, you can't leave a dog home alone for 12 hours. So I bring the dog with me to work. We're in downtown LA. We're in LA somewhere in a big house. And he's outside of the house. He's looking up at the house. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go say hi to my hero, you know?
Right.
And I walk up behind him without turning. He didn't turn around. He never turned or moved his body so he could see me peripherally. And he goes, that must be Jay Mohr. And I go, what? I'm looking at, there's no window to see me. And then he turns around and he goes, yeah, I'm right again. There you are. I noticed that, this is all true. He goes, I noticed that you brought your dog to work today. Rottweiler, good dog. I go, her name is Shirley. And he goes, who cares? Your dog doesn't have a tail. What happened to your dog's tail? Where did it go? And I'm like, I have no idea what my dog's tail went. I don't know. And I go, and then I look up and he's like an inch from my face. And he whispers, "It would be great to have a tail.
It'd be great to have a tail."
And then he just goes from whispering to yelling. Whoa! People would see you coming down the block. They'd see your tail. They'd say, "Get back. Look at his tail. He's crazy." And I go, I think people know when you're happy when you have a tail because you wag it. And he like gets serious and he goes, "Maybe you and your tail." Like I crossed the line in tail talk. And then he looks at me like it's my turn to talk and I have no idea what to say. We haven't said hello yet. Jesus. And I go, "Would you rather be able to fly or have a tail?" And he goes, "I'm so glad you asked me that." A tail, of course. I go, "What?" He goes, "You can always get on an airplane with your tail." That was the actual conversation.
That was the conversation with Christopher Walken.
Oh no, that was my Pacino. I was doing this movie with Pacino that no one saw called Simone. Pretty good. And my mom came to set and she had early Alzheimer's. And I can't wait. My mom's going to meet up. Jeannie Mohr is just, she was the nipple on the tit, man. She was that Jersey through and through, you know. And I go, "Mom, this is Al. We're at Long Beach Convention Center. They're filming the Oscars. So it's like hundreds of extras.
Right.
And he's got this scene where he's supposed to cry and all, like, he's got a big day. And I'm like, "Mom, this is Al. Al, this is my mom. This is Jeannie Mohr." And he goes, "Hello, Jeannie. How are you?" And my mom goes, "You have such faggy hands."
She did not.
Yes. And I just thought I was fired. And he just goes, "I have faggy hands. Well, your son doesn't mind. You didn't tell her about us, Jay. Jeannie Mohr doesn't know her son is homosexual." You have such faggy hands.
Oh, Jesus. You can't make this stuff up.
That was like in her like loop when it got worse and worse. I remember when she's making dinner and I'm in the kitchen helping her. I'm back in Jersey and she goes, "Let me see your hands." And she goes, "Your father has such faggy hands." Like she was disgusted. She goes, "You have good," her maiden name. She goes, "You have good Ferguson hands. You have good Ferguson hands. Your father has such faggy fucking hands." Dinner's ready. I'm sitting next to my dad. It's a green tablecloth. And I'm just staring at my dad's crepe paper stretched over Pearl's hands like, "Oh, he's right. He's never choked her ever." Wait, what? Like, I'm no fighter. But, I mean, I teach, MMA or whatever, fight science. Shout out Fight Science, Washington Boulevard. What's up, son? Holla. But, like, if you were going to fight somebody and then suddenly his face is against your breast.
Yeah.
You're like, "What the fuck?" And the next thing you know, you're like, "Whoa," you're going, "Oh." Talking about wrestling, Mike. You might want to dial it in here. How many likes?
I don't get off my square too much, but
You shave your armpits?
hell yeah.
Are you like
No, I do
swimmer?
it. Because out here or when we're in Florida, it's so damn hot, you sweat a lot.
Yeah, well,
And it-
yeah.
I
That's
know.
the bane of my existence. Hair in my underarms when it's warm out. I just wish I didn't have underarm hair. Forget like getting into a bathing suit or something. If only I was hairless. If only I had a Jagger-esque torso.
No, it's just, I don't like it. It's,
I'll be honest with you. When I was on speed, I was trimming it up a lot.
now you're just, forget it.
Look at me. I look like I have twins in my belly.
How's it working?
Great. It's
Are
my
we
happiness.
working out? Do we?
That comes last. First spiritual, then mental, then physical.
How much weight have you put on since you?
33 pounds.
I did that in my first 30 days of rehab. 30 pounds.
I
In
was
1990.
I was a savage in rehab. You know those incline, not even an incline. Like you do sit-ups, but it's like you go all the way upside down and back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little like
Yeah, I got
modified
sober
bench.
in a prison cell.
Yeah, so you did it off a big perk. I was doing those like, and I remember a guy going like, "Come on, 5 more, JJ." And I'm like, "I'm doing sets of 100, bro." I was like 170. I looked like a whippet, a dog.
Thinking you thought you were ripped.
No, everybody was I was ripped.
No.
Everybody was just working out. So I was like, all right.
No, but prior to the end of the addiction, did you think you were in good shape? And
Oh,
stuff?
I was in great shape.
Were you?
I was wrestling every day. And
Wow.
I'm just sparring and wrestling. And pills are falling out of my pockets. I'm telling kids like, that's my heart medication. Then I'm wrestling live with like my heavyweight, and they're like, "Coach, your heart." I'm like, no, I mean that. I
Bring
mean
me my pills. Bring me my pills. Bring me my
It
pills.
was bad.
How's your tour going? Tell us a
It's
little bit
going
about
good.
your
Straight
new
out of
tour.
rehab tour.
Straight out of rehab.
I was in Milwaukee this weekend. Today I was in Milwaukee and landed, went right to my noon meeting. That's,
My man.
bro, it's the only, this is how you do it.
Yep.
As the song goes. This is how we do it. Like, it's not, it's just do whatever the fuck the old timers do.
Yep.
Anyway, next is La Jolla this weekend, and then a couple one-nighters on the East Coast. Ram's Head in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm doing a theater in Peekskill, New York, and then I'm doing Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
When's that?
2 weekends from now. It's all on jaymohr.com.
jaymohr.com.
MOHR.
So wait, how do you feel now traveling after COVID, after
I feel
getting
great.
sober, like being
It's
around
such
people?
a simple life now. Like you have to. Not you guys, but like the editorial you, man. You have to understand. You have to understand. Like I was exhausting myself with nonsense. So to just get on a plane with a book and a backpack.
So did you do Milwaukee solo?
No, I brought a sober companion with me.
Good.
Good for you.
Wasn't raining when Noah started building the ark, bro.
Good man. So you're taking the time when you have to travel for work, because when you're local, you're living a 12-step based program. But when you travel, you're taking a sober individual with
Right.
you.
Still living a
And
12-step
you.
based
Right.
Still living
program.
it, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just hedging my bets.
Good for you.
Like, I'm not worried about using drugs, but me alone in a hotel room, I'll start going on those websites and going, like shopping for humans.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Milwaukee, Jeffrey Dahmer,
I
you
mean, it
alone.
feels that relapse feeling for me in certain areas that I needed to deal with, and it was one of them was sex. You know, I was doing that to fill that void, and it was like I would totally. It was love and sex. You know, I just wanted to be loved. Like I'd go to any lengths, and then when I started working on myself, like that void felt the same back then. I'd call it like a relapse, you know, yet again, you know, and it literally felt that shame felt the same.
I've been lucky that I've poured enough foundation into my sobriety that it hasn't happened. I have a great girlfriend that's just there's no box unchecked as far as what you'd want from a woman.
Ooh,
And and it started when I started my sobriety. It was, I don't want to get caught. It's going to be a pain in the ass. And then like my third thought would be, and I have a girlfriend. And then over time, it's like, this is absurd. I have a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But it took 5 months to get my thinking rewired because it's entitlement.
Absolutely.
And it's fear of like not being loved. It's fear of not being enough. It's, my mom showed up when I was 10. She was a drunk. So I have like 0 to 10 of like, where is everybody?
Wow.
Because my dad was keeping the shit at shoe level and he was working in Manhattan. My sisters are 6 and 7 years older than me. So I was alone a lot, not boo-hoo, just it is what it is.
Sure.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I've been talking too much.
No, I just want to say like something that you were saying is, for me, that is important. Is something that when you talk so freely about, I feel that we have to we're already through that experience or halfway through it or fully through it. So for you to talk so open and raw about sex addiction and what that felt like and what that was, it's not like, I love that you can tell so sincerely that you've already gone through it and you've worked through it and that you're conscious and aware of it. And to share that publicly is not a lot of people do. And I really love that and I appreciate that.
Sure. Thanks. It's weird to say thank you for like sobriety stuff because it's such a gift.
It really,
it's not like I did that.
listening.
But you know what it is, Jen? Like,
but you got gratitude.
I was really bad at it too. Like I took the easy route with hookers and money and like a transactional thing. I was too much of a coward to go out and actually earn someone's trust to go be intimate with them. And I'm a validation addict too. And so I was completely impotent. I was blasted on speed from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, which would be like a couple days later.
Right.
But there's nothing more validating than somebody laying with their legs open, waiting for you to like maybe rally and get an erection. So like I've really had to work through that because I don't want to live that anymore. It's not. I was on a Zoom meeting when I was in Milwaukee, and the guy said, "I pray every day that I just live the right way," and it was the most basic, perfect sentence for an overarching a lifestyle. Like, it's just not the right way, and I wasn't good at it. I was just I was so disharmonious. I caused so much disruption.
Chaos agent.
I was a chaos agent.
Tornado of destruction.
I was a pleasure-seeking missile, and it's just you're either in or you're out.
Yep.
And guess what? Everybody was out.
You sound a lot like Chris Farley, where he was kind of.
Well, he's dead, Tim. Thank you.
I don't want you to be dead.
Jeez.
But no, at the end of Chris's life, he was just spending a lot of time with hookers.
Oh,
And
I see what you mean.
No, from that in addiction, just wanting someone to be there. And
but that's also
unfortunately,
that's who I related
well, yeah,
to.
but
that's how sick of
there's
it.
a lot of people though too that are at that point now. COVID, all these mental health stuff, but alone and thinking life's good. But there's a lot of lonely people out there that are struggling because of the addiction and they don't know how to live.
If anybody has a problem with loneliness, I would recommend AA because I have not been lonely one day of my recovery. I have not been lonely, and I was God's lonely man. Like, I thought I was like De Niro in Taxi Driver, just driving around at night. Just like, I was just so resigned to a life. Like, that's who I was. Like the set aside prayer. Like, I've had to set that aside. What I think I know about myself, my brokenness, my spiritual path, and especially you, Tim. I put you in there. Sorry. But like, that's how delusional I was. And it's like, I learned in my intervention and subsequently through recovery, like, how many people were on the sidelines just, please get well. And now it's just I call you almost every day. You call me almost every day. My texts seem to really confuse you, which I love.
I know the English language is hard.
I started one night, I was in Cleveland, I think. I was playing a bar mitzvah.
Yes, you were.
in Cleveland.
Yes.
Whoa, I was some money, dude. Oof.
That was a good one.
Shalom mazel. No hazarai, no mishigas. And Jen, you'll like this. I was just, like when someone talks, you copy them, like your little brother or sister. And he texted me. I just texted it back to him.
Texted it right back.
And he's sending me like the emoji of the lady with her hands up, like, I don't get it. And I would just send him the emoji back, like, I don't get it. I had him on the line, like, I was like, I gotta let this guy off the hook. Honestly, because I didn't want him to think I was fucking high. It's the only reason
I think he was. No,
the only reason I let you off.
He was totally.
The only reason I let you off the hook because I'm like, this is like how a fucking belligerent coke fiend would act. I had to let you up.
You were lonely after your
No, I
event.
wasn't. I had Cowboy Dan in the next room.
Right out of there then too.
He's hilarious.
He's a hoot.
I've been really lucky. Like, the guys that I hang around and talk to, I've just staying connected. Like, you walk the walk, Dan. All my bros, they're of service. They're grateful.
It's interesting when you were talking about how you're not lonely, and like if you people out there who are lonely go to AA or the 12 steps rooms and stuff. I've been around or helping and talking to people who have been so alone, and that deep pain of how dark that loneliness really is, and I've been in loneliness and darkness, but to feel it, like I feel a lot from others, and I can
you're an
like,
empath.
yeah. And so I can literally, you talking about that, it was like, I was seeing just dark and light and all these different like things of it. If they could just get that, I swear to God, they won't get it. They don't want to get it right now. And yes, maybe one day down the line, all that stuff, but like, my heart rejoices for you because you got it and you're in it and you're like that. I mean, it's like, that's what gets me so excited and grateful. And it makes me stay blessed and stay more connected to this, the 12-step program and staying sober and in recovery, because it's people like you that get me inspired and hyped up for this.
I feel the same way about you guys. That's what, literally that's why I'm here. Because that's That's what I was taught. You know,
and we root for each other, and
Yes.
we all root for each other.
Absolutely.
We all want
I'm
everyone to
so
succeed.
glad
Like,
you
if
said
you're
that, Jen.
truly in recovery, like I have no fear of women. Like I want to inspire and see these girls just step their goddess moves, right? Like and own their stage. And I want men to like succeed and be able to provide and live their lives. And like that's real recovery. Like
Yeah.
instead of feeling like intimidated or backstabbed, and I just lift you and celebrate you. And then I think about the person that I'm talking about right now, and it's like, oh my God, if this one person could see this or this other person, and it's like the same pain, same emotion, that dark, lonely, pain is pain. Feeling that, that needing to numb yourself instead of allowing these feelings to come and go and understand them. It's like, and it's everyone in addiction,
Yeah.
it really is. And I just feel your light because I remember that light within me, when you tell that story. So thank you.
Thank you. And it's interesting because when I got to the Milwaukee Improv, they picked me up real early for like a 7:30 show. It was like a 6:15 pickup. It was a mile away. So I'm just sitting in the green room.
Okay,
Pizza,
great.
pizza, but there's in most improv green rooms, there's a giant big screen TV, and it's like a center field to home plate shot of the stage.
Right.
So it's a 400 seat room. So improvs go sort of in tiers. Like there'll be like 70 seats in the lower sort of horseshoe, then
Right.
another 70, then another 70. And if it's not full, they'll like pull a curtain across the middle of the room so it's not like humiliating.
Sure.
And I could see the empty seats. And I guess I lost track of the fact that I was so early. And I was like, oh, I really thought everything was going to be full. And the guy I was with, Kevin, he's like, why is that? I'm like, and I realized the absurdity. I go, I just got out of rehab. Come on. Come on.
It's comeback.
Don't you guys know? I didn't do any press.
Yeah.
I did like a AM radio, a sports radio a couple times, and that was it. And then it just started filling up. And then it started filling up. And it started filling up. And it started filling up. And it was like 350 out of 400. And that's exactly what happened.
That's huge.
And I know, actually, we all know that light attracts light.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a sponsee, they're always a temporary sponsee because I want them to get somebody with more time. But I'll tell them, like, as you go on your Ativan, the bus, the drunk bus or the Ativan, the druggy buggy, the druggy buggy, I'm like, separate your laundry. Like every single person on that bus is talking, doing something, having an exchange with somebody else, and just separate your darks from your lights. And you wind up in a very small group of people that are just there to get fucking well.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up on somebody's Instagram, hearting, liking big booty, swimsuit chicks and this fucking car and my man had this. They're talking about people they got high with.
Right.
So it is weird that since I've been sober, I'm just going to speak freely because it's you guys. People are really happy to see me.
Absolutely.
And like in tickets, also out at work. But I'm not working for the money anymore because I'm trying to carry the message on stage because I might help somebody talking about rehab freely.
Sure.
Talking about shitting my pants with the medication change and all that.
Yep.
So I was in the airplane bathroom and I pulled my mask down to see if my smirk was as visible as I thought it was.
That's awesome.
Because I just kind of walk around like with this look on my face, like, this is great.
That's amazing.
4-hour flight. Okay, cool. That's great.
That's awesome.
I got a book.
You're as Jen said earlier, you're doing the deal, you're doing the work, you're in the center of the herd, you're not on the outside where you're going to get picked off, and things are opening. But I want to thank you for your years of service of making people laugh. And a lot of times you had pain behind that, but you always went out there and put on a character, an act, a comedy routine, whatever, to make people like us have a little bit of happiness at that time. And I want to thank you for that. And it's awesome that you're out here, Jay, carrying this message in a comedy routine straight out of rehab. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
I'm so excited about
It's
your
good
life.
stuff.
Yeah.
Your
Jaymohr.com. Jaymohr.com.
I'm betting the house on me. Like this show.
Yes,
I'm getting laughs on stage that are so disproportionate to what I feel is funny. Like the thing about them taking my interventionist into detox.
Right.
I just threw it in as an aside because I was like trying to piece something else down the line together. So it's just kind of killing time. And that got such a big laugh that I was like, yeah, take it easy, guys. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But then I would say it off stage to like Kevin, who was with me. He's like, that was hilarious. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to believe that. Like, same with my sobriety. I'm going to believe everybody.
Right.
You know, but it's so I'm invigorated because I have all this new stuff and there's nothing to remember because I just keep going into my toy box like and there's this too. Oh yeah, that's right. Meow meow. Yeah, I forgot that part. Yeah.
Meow meow. No, Meow Smith.
Meow Smith.
Yeah.
And that was all I can add living on the first show in Milwaukee. Because I like when the audience gets quiet.
Right.
Not because you're bombing, because they're leaning in listening.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big transition for me right before my Adderall addiction where I was like,
do you feel like you're operating more freely to where you're just things are flowing, or I'm just going to try this? And
yeah, it's like having
together?
A cheat code in a video game. Like I can't lose because if they don't laugh, I'm still sharing something from my heart, and I'm still like showing my guts and showing my bones. And it's almost like if they don't laugh, they're kind of like jerks.
There you go.
Which is like not my intention, but it's like, oh yeah, because I do something like, I'll ask the audience, like, how many women like to be spanked during sex? And like one lady will clap and I'll go, all right, one whore and everybody else is lying. So then I'm like, you guys are really not going to be honest after what I have just shared with you? So like, it's not without its cachet.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a secret currency I've tapped into. Yeah. And that is, I'm going to be so honest. I'm going to talk about me and Eddie Collins blowing each other when we were 10. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. So by the time we get to the nonsense, you're kind of like relieved.
Right.
Because you're no longer wondering like, how am I supposed to feel about this? It's kind of like a whitewater rafting trip.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just kind of ragdoll them. I love it. Well,
you have a gift.
But that is something you tapped into because right now, like, we just kind of want to laugh at our truth, like that truth, you know? I mean, in that sense of like calling out, like, you know, how many people here did this or that? Yeah.
You know, a lot of my maybe all of it. And I think people that get into stand-up comedy, because they say acting's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Mm-hmm. And stand-up comedy's like, look at me, look at me. Don't look at me now.
Right.
Wait. Now look at me. Look at me in 90 minutes at a time. So when I was at IO, my intensive outpatient therapy, when I got out of rehab, they showed a YouTube video of a guy in sobriety doing stand-up at like a rehab. And I remember going, oh, he could have said this. He could have added that. And then I went, oh, I can do it better.
The light flipped on.
Yeah, but that's when I got into stand-up, I was doing the same thing. And like when I watch acting on TV or something, I'm like, this, and it's ego.
Right.
Was ego, I should say, where it's like, this ain't shit. I could fucking murder this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just want to have a good time.
Good for you. Well, you know, your perspectives change and, you know, what's important and what's not. How's the relationship with your son?
Yeah, he turned 10 when I was in rehab, and that was tough. And then I shared with him, I called him from rehab on his birthday, and I said, you know, Grandma, I was 10 when she got sober. Isn't that cool? And he goes, no. And I thought he was kind of being a jerk. And I was just ready to deal with whatever it was. Because you hear about people making an amends and stuff. Right. And it's like, go fuck yourself. And he goes, I go, isn't that cool? And he goes, no. And there's a weird pause. And he goes, it's a miracle. He's 10.
Wow.
And it's my son. I was making amends to my buddy, my brother Aaron. And I found out this was about 10 days ago. And he said, well, yeah, like when I came by, it was to see you, sure, but I was really doing a welfare check on him.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
That stings.
Because, again, my reality wasn't reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Like to learn that everybody in your life was concerned for your child because of just how you were alive.
Yep.
Like I wasn't hitting them or motherfucking them.
Oh, I get it.
But it was like, is this kid okay? And that was like a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
Like even my dogs, like I got picked up at the airport today by my assistant and she brought my dogs. So they were at the groomers. They just got out. And I'm holding 2 dogs and they're like crying.
Happy to see you.
And she said like literally when she lives down the street from me in Playa Vista, when she would bring them back to the house, they would run in the other direction back to her house.
Oh.
And now they run to like it's We're so disharmonious that when we actually
Yeah.
find serenity and peace and we find harmony, everything around us grows. That's beautiful.
Amen.
Like it's the old me would say, because of my sobriety, that person is killing it. But because of my sobriety, I'm able to see, because of my sobriety, that person is finally growing
Yep.
the way they should be growing.
Yeah.
And I was stepping on their necks. I was like the governor on the engine. When
Right.
you take a golf cart downhill, you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, you go real slow downhill.
So you
'cause
take
there's
the governor off it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now the governor's off, and
Yeah.
like all these beautiful people, and
Right.
like my girlfriend, my son, my assistant, my friends, my best friend who's my agent, like everyone's just so happy because they don't have that sinkhole
Mhm.
of time, energy, and emotions that I was anymore.
Amen.
And that'll make you want to open up your big book in O'Hare Airport.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Keep
you.
it going,
Right.
you know.
You're right.
It's a shame about her looks. My God, you're beautiful, Jen. Said the sober guy that's no longer a sex addict.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a huge compliment.
Yeah, I've realized we were talking about sex addiction earlier, but
Okay, I'll meet you
I know you're,
outside.
you know,
It's so funny.
No, that's
Because
awesome.
I had to work with a lot of things because I felt that if I used my sensuality, then I could get what I needed, and that's how I was going to get it. But then my sponsor said one day, like, why don't I?
because of my sobriety, that person is killing it. But because of my sobriety, I'm able to see, because of my sobriety, that person is finally growing
Yep.
the way they should be growing.
Yeah.
And I was stepping on their necks. I was like the governor on the engine. When
Right.
you take a golf cart downhill, you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, you go real slow downhill.
So you
'cause
take
there's
the governor off it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now the governor's off, and
Yeah.
like all these beautiful people, and
Right.
like my girlfriend, my son, my assistant, my friends, my best friend who's my agent, like everyone's just so happy because they don't have that sinkhole
Mhm.
of time, energy, and emotions that I was anymore.
Amen.
And that'll make you want to open up your big book in O'Hare Airport.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Keep it
you.
going,
Right.
you know.
You're right.
It's a shame about her looks. My God, you're beautiful, Jen. Said the sober guy that's no longer a sex addict.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a huge compliment.
Yeah, I've realized we were talking about sex addiction earlier, but
Okay, I'll meet you
I know you're,
outside.
you know,
It's so funny.
No, that's
because
awesome.
I had to work with a lot of things because I felt that if I used my sensuality, then I could get what I needed, and that's how I was going to get it. But then my sponsor said one day, like, why don't I teach you to use your voice, your brains, your talent, your skills, you know? And I said, okay. And I learned that I can have a relationship with another man in front of my husband, let alone alone,
Yeah.
and not feel intimidated or think that you're even being inappropriate. And there was nothing but brotherly and sisterly love there.
yes.
And I
good.
think that people need to know that. Like, it's okay to have these kind of conversations. Like, I always say to
Absolutely.
my husband, that girl's beautiful. Look at her. Or look, that
Yeah.
guy. Like,
Same.
let's be honest about it. Like, you know, we can celebrate and enjoy. And sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, to go further into my recovery and work,
but thank you.
you're welcome. I was told at IOP to stop complimenting the girls.
Mm.
And I was like, that's who I am. But rigorous honesty and examining it, I'm only...
Who played Cyrus the Virus in Con Air? My drug dealer used to say that's what I look like too in James Wood. But anyhow,
No, let's figure this out. Who is it?
I don't remember.
Well, it's either
That's for the
Steve
next show.
Buscemi.
Buscemi.
Yeah. No,
No.
Cyrus the Virus was the big guy. We'll get to it.
Good old, what's his name?
Yeah, good old what's his name? Jay Mohr, thank you. Jennifer, thank you. For
Thank
the
you,
Tim
Tim.
and Jenn Show, thank you. Candace Barr, Chris, Lux Media, all our sponsors.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Tuning in.
We will be back next week.
We will be next week with another episode of the Tim and Jenn Show. Signing off. Later. We want to talk to you about Clean Cause, better caffeine. What's in the can? Our organic, sparkling Herba Mate is a premium pick-me-up that won't let you down. Every can of Clean Cause contains 160 milligrams of better caffeine, and each sip supports recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. 50% of the profits go to assist people into sober living. Check out cleancause.com.
Seaside Palm Beach is an executive luxury addiction treatment center located in Palm Beach, Florida. Our private clients come from all over the world, including business executives, professional athletes, celebrities, and more. Seaside Palm Beach offers first-class amenities and high-end accommodations, including a gourmet culinary experience, ocean views, pet-friendly facilities, and access to cell phones and laptops during your stay. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call us at 877-959-5053. Again, that number is 877-959-5053.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy. Helps blood sugar regulation. Superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.